Hello, welcome to Guides to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week, SLASHTOBER continues. We are taking a trip over to Camp Crystal Lake to talk about Friday the 13th, the original movie and the remake.
Yes, in 1980, they made Friday the 13th basically because of the success of Halloween.
Right.
Which would have come out 2 years earlier. Mm-hmm. And they thought, hey, that seemed like an approachable slasher movie. People liked it. It didn't seem like it cost $1 million.
Yeah.
Let's do that too.
I'd like to get me some of that.
And so weirdly, for a movie that like almost was like an also ran or a copycat or something like that at its original premise, took off like a shot.
It truly did.
Jason Voorhees became like the face of the slasher genre for a long time. The spooky hockey mask killer.
I still think that he and Michael Myers are like neck and neck for probably like the icons of the slasher genre.
Really? And
I think so.
And what of Freddy Krueger?
Also,
what of
yes. What of? I also, yes. And also Ghostface, yes. But I think these two are like the two big bigs.
Yeah.
For like classic slasher horror movies.
Yes.
Do you not feel that way?
No, I agree. I actually wouldn't put Ghostface with
I think
them.
people think that though now. I think when you think about like horror movies, he has also become one of the icons of the genre.
Yeah.
But I think, so I'm talking about general population, but I think that Freddy, well, I guess maybe I said Freddy by accident, but I think Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees are like the dudes.
The daddies.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's probably true. Mm-hmm. And yet, beware of spoilers in SLASHTOBER. Jason Voorhees has no part to play, really.
No.
In the 1980 original Friday the 13th.
No, he doesn't.
So much so that it was used, the lack of Jason Voorhees was used as a gotcha in Scream.
Right, because he's become so synonymous with Friday the 13th, the franchise, that you would assume that he's obviously in the first one, but not the case.
No.
Not at least in the iteration that he became super popular in.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like Will said, we're just going to just have a freeform discussion. We're going to spoil everything. So, and we're going to talk about them, kind of interchangeably with each other, these two movies. So if you're worried about spoilers for either the original 1980 movie or the 2009 version, maybe dip out and watch them and then come back to listen to the episode.
Exactly. And if you're not worried, then enjoy.
Yes. Hang out with us. So had it been a while since you had seen either one of these, the original or the 2009 one?
I've seen the original so many times, I think, that I'm just super duper familiar with it. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it's been... I don't think I saw it recently.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it was all that long ago either.
Right.
I ordered the Scream Factory, did like an awesome Jason box set.
Yeah. That is super cool looking. Yeah, grab it. Yeah, it's very neat looking. It's got some cool artwork on it.
Yeah, it's like beautiful. It's like such a cool collector box set.
Yeah.
I think actually we're not sponsored by Scream Factory. I would love to be, but I think that they have a sale going on right now, and this is part of it.
Oh, nice.
But so every side of this cube has really cool horror Friday the 13th artwork and stuff. So I did go on a Jason marathon whenever this thing came out.
Right.
But the remake. The 2009 remake, boy, I saw it when it came out. Mm-hmm. Saw it a couple of times in between just out of curiosity of being like, what happens in that?
Yeah.
Is it as bad as I thought it was? That had been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I that sounds about right to me. Somewhat similarly, I haven't seen Friday the 13th, the original, a million times, but I've seen it a bunch, and I hadn't seen it in a long time. And I had put on the remake sometime in the last, 6 months or something.
Oh.
And watched part of it and then was like, and kind of went about my business. I think I just had it on in the house while I was cleaning or doing something else. So I had a somewhat recent familiarity with it, but I didn't sit and get super into it, and I understand why.
Oh my God, yeah. It is baffling. So something fun about we debated about whether or not we should even do Friday the 13th in this year's SLASHTOBER.
Right, because it's not just a straight up remake, the 2009 version. It's a mashup of the first 4 movies.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, we're all about doing reboots here. Mm-hmm. And so, Child's Play last week, the new movie sort of takes the bare concept and spins out in another direction, which was fascinating. This almost has nothing to do with the
Yeah.
original Friday the 13th.
It's basically like the prologue to the movie.
Yeah.
The original Friday the 13th. Because in the 2009 version, they have almost like a cold open that is dealing with Jason's mom, who is the killer of the original movie. And then it like smashes to the title. And then we're just like in Jason land.
Which is somewhat interesting, I have to say. It's like one of the few things in the 2009 movie that I find interesting is the way that they handle the opening. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, Jason Voorhees, that is the 12th Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
And last, as of this recording at least.
Right.
Although there are rumors of a new one.
Yeah.
And it would be the 13th, Friday the 13th.
How perfect.
Hopefully they do something exciting with it.
Yeah.
But if you're going to reboot...
They could just call it the 13th.
Call it the 13th? Mm-hmm. Well, the name stuff is all mixed up.
I know.
Paramount owns part of this. They own the original. They own the name Friday the 13th. And then New Line bought Jason. But that's why all of a sudden the movies stop being called Friday the 13th and start being called Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, Jason X. Mm-hmm. This reboot, it was like a big team up between a bunch of companies to get the name, get the mask, get it all to happen.
Yeah.
But if you're going to remake Friday the 13th, it would be silly to remake the 1980 movie because, like you said, Jason's not in it.
Right. And he's like the guy now.
But you also can't ignore the fact that that first movie sets up so much of who Jason is as a character because he can't talk.
Right.
He doesn't do anything.
Right.
And so you need the mother, you need Pamela Voorhees to
be your way in.
Yeah. And so taking Pamela Voorhees and saying that, like, because the cold open of the reboot is like, it's bizarre. These people are almost like, they're almost not characters at all.
Right.
They basically just are humans put on screen. Like in the original movie, Alice was the final girl.
Yeah.
And she is kind of an interesting character. I wouldn't say the most interesting, like, final girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, for that movie to judge it on its own terms, like, she faces off against Mrs. Voorhees, and because of that,
I would say
alone,
because of that, she becomes an interesting character.
Exactly.
Otherwise, she's just like one of the gang who didn't really stand out in any major way.
Very true. But when you see the new Alice in the remake, her hair's not the same, which makes sense.
Yeah.
She had 70s hair in the 1980 movie, you know, like sort of like feathered out.
Yeah, but even so, I mean, they're throwing back to that time, so...
Yeah, you're right. Should they have...
Like,
but
style,
it's just like some lady in the
Right.
remake. It's just a lady with long hair.
Right.
And it's like they didn't even try to make it seem like it was Alice, really.
Right.
And Mrs. Voorhees gets to say the stuff the audience needs to know, which is like, you weren't watching him while that young boy drowned. She's talking about her son, Jason. And then Alice chops her head off.
Right.
But in the remake, in the original, that's it.
Yeah.
She was the threat.
Yes.
And
the threat has been
threat
neutralized.
is neutralized. At best, we get sort of
Except,
a nightmare scene where Alice dreams, they say,
Right.
of a young boy popping out of the lake and dragging her into the water.
Right.
In the new movie, in the remake, Jason is watching this event, the beheading of his mother. He's watching from the shoreline.
Right.
Which is weird.
Yes.
He's alive?
I know. What incentive would he have had to not have been in touch with his mother?
Yes.
You know, like
Right.
she probably wouldn't have gone on this spree if she knew that Jason was alive.
Right. It's all her spree was predicated on my son drowned.
Right.
And yet the opening shows us
No, he did not.
no, he did not.
So
what's-
why not Jason with mommy?
What's going on?
I don't know.
And then they introduce us to the next group of characters, which are the most obvious,
They're
like
so annoying.
everybody in this movie is annoying. Yeah. Everybody and everything.
I guess Jared Padalecki isn't annoying.
Well, he doesn't
just
show up
there.
yet.
No, I know, but you said everybody in this movie.
Yeah.
He's fine. He's just kind of doing whatever, basically.
Yeah, I wish there's so
and
much,
his friend, whoever, I can't remember what her name is, but she's like,
does he have a friend?
well, no, but you know, it's a girl from the group of annoying people.
Oh, who joins
and-
up with Jared Padalecki?
Yeah,
to
and,
fight
and
Jason.
she's like fine.
She's okay.
And normal, but everybody else is annoying.
I agree.
Yeah.
But so the after we see Mrs. Voorhees get beheaded, we get a bunch of young adults. They're not even teens, you know, like,
No, you're right.
They're
It's just
adults.
funny. Yeah.
and they go camping.
Early 20s kids.
But one of them has a GPS
right.
to find pot.
Right. I don't know.
There are pot fields on Crystal Lake,
Yeah.
and he wants to find them. But when he finds them, Jason jealously protects the pot.
I didn't perceive it to be him protecting the pod.
He just kills because he just kills?
Yes. That's what I thought. They're just like in Jason territory.
Okay.
They
in
like
the wrong
cross
place.
the invisible line
Right.
that divides people who can live from people who will die because Jason's there.
It's just, yeah, because they're like in the original movie, it's like they're trying to open the camp again.
Right.
Right.
And so
that ignites Pamela Voorhees.
Yeah.
To be like, no.
You will
no
not.
camp opening.
Yeah, it seems to be like
These people killed my kid.
Where like there's almost a, not logical, but there's a train of thought that you can follow, which is like, I'm going to prevent the camp from opening. Now, the way I've decided to do that is to kill everybody. That's obviously not logical not good.
She's off her nut.
She's off her nut.
She's
and
talking
also,
to herself as remake
exactly
Pamela
that.
Voorhees.
Yes. Maybe Pamela. A movie called Pamela.
I like it.
By the way,
why not? There's a movie called Pearl out there right now.
That's true. We have an episode where my segment is only about Pamela Voorhees. It's like
very
in the
early
first
on.
10 episodes or
Yeah.
something. It's worth finding that and giving a listen.
Couldn't
I
agree
also
more.
met the daughter of the woman who played Pamela Voorhees because she was a psychic that I spoke to.
Very cool.
Yep.
In Reading,
So,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I really do think like a Pamela Voorhees movie would be really interesting.
Yes. You know how there are all the Twilight books, and then there was a book that came out called Midnight Sun that was the events of Twilight told from Edward's perspective. Do you not know that?
No.
Okay.
What are we going to do
Well,
about
now
that?
you do. What do we do with this?
There's not a movie, is there?
No, there is not.
Very well.
Right.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
So, anyway, if there were a movie, but it's told from Pamela Voorhees' perspective, like
Yeah,
the
that's kind of
events
interesting.
of the night of Friday the 13th,
Well,
but her like stalking around.
there's a lot. There's a lot about the Friday the 13th franchise that doesn't exist on the page. It exists in like the fans' minds, which is really enjoyable to me. It's like a hobby of mine to look at stuff and dissect story. And this franchise, a lot of people who would call themselves fans of the franchise would say stuff to you like, Pamela Voorhees used the Necronomicon to revive her drowned son.
Right.
And that's why
I forgot about that.
he's a big hulking monster man who can't be killed.
Right.
Because Jason is a deadite. Or sometimes people will say, well, yeah, Pamela Voorhees and Elias Voorhees were Jason's parents. And like they have all this knowledge.
That's right. And we went into this in an episode. I can't remember what it's called, but there is
Yeah.
an episode of Guide to the Unknown. It might be about Jason or
Right,
something,
yeah.
where we talk about that sort of like fan fiction element.
And it's become almost indiscernible from the actual canon of the films.
Right.
It almost seems like people seem to take a lot of that kind of stuff as law.
Yeah.
And it might be from maybe it's from a comic, maybe it's from a book. I can't really speak to those kinds of angles, but I've heard enough people talk about, because in Jason's Dead, Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday.
Right.
The
Of course.
Necronomicon is in that movie, and there's like a Kandarian dagger. This is Evil Dead stuff. Evil Dead monsters are called Deadites.
Right.
And so it is sort of, it does exist on screen a little bit. You could infer from the movie itself, like, well, why is that in the Voorhees home? Is that why Jason is some other
That
creature?
explains it.
But if you're going to remake this, my entire point of bringing up all that bizarreness is to be like, if you're going to remake Friday the 13th, why not take an opportunity to tighten up? This is something we've talked about for years.
And
years.
also engage with that sort of like fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
What happened to you?
I don't know. Something happened where I clicked on a video of Tito Puente.
Okay, Kristen's somewhere else, everybody.
No, I'm trying to find
Who's
that.
Tito Puente?
I don't know.
Let's just talk about Tito Puente.
I don't know. I'm trying to find. Okay, this might be it. Guide to the Unknown episode 152, Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees.
Oh, okay.
That might be what I'm referring to, where we talk about all of the like fan
Elias
lore.
Voorhees,
Right.
Necronomicon could be there.
Right, that's what I was doing when I somehow ended up on Tito Puente.
Very well.
Yeah.
Well, that's important too.
Right.
But like, if you're gonna reboot, remake, whatever you whatever this is, take a shot at tightening up, because it is confusing.
Yeah.
Campers weren't, the camp counselors weren't watching as Jason, who has some sort of a facial deformation,
Right.
cognitive impairment.
I think so. I think she says something like he wasn't
was a special boy. She
yeah,
says, yeah.
Right. So I think something is
They
more.
were making love while that young boy drowned.
I think
it's
it's
interesting that she
something-
calls it making love.
I mean, everybody called it making love back then. Like,
Yeah, but it implies tenderness rather than like.
I know, but for
they
some
were being
reason,
animalistic. They were being like jackrabbits.
for some reason in the 70s, I feel like they only referred to it as making love.
Yeah,
like
I
somebody would
guess.
ask, like, if you want to make love when they mean
Chef on South Park. But so like, she says, he drowned, and then in the second movie, which takes place 5 years later,
Right.
he's like in his 30s.
He's out and about,
and
yeah,
he's
and
huge,
quite hulking.
with a bag on his head, no hockey mask until the third movie.
Right.
And then he's killed in the fourth movie and revived in the sixth movie as a zombie. What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Take
I
it-
haven't seen that far, actually.
Oh, the sixth is my favorite one.
I know. You told me. I'll get to it eventually.
Jason Lives. It is outstanding. It is not the first. It is a very fun horror comedy. It's a
Yeah.
meta. Characters in the movie literally say, "I've seen enough horror movies to know when you see a guy like that, you go the other way."
Yeah.
It's like a little Scream a decade before.
Yeah.
Scream. But we've talked a lot about, like, on our old podcast too. If you're going to make a movie out of existing material, whether you're adapting a book or whether you're remaking something that happened before, this is your big shot.
Right.
This is your shot at another draft. Let's tighten this up. Tighten it
Why
up,
not?
dude. Tighten it up.
Tighten it up or make it cooler.
Pamela Voorhees. Was she into the dark arts? Okay. I don't know that I really want that, but
there's nothing to indicate that.
No.
And yeah.
But you could say, it could be that Jason drowned and she went wild looking for anything to undo.
Right.
Like maybe she did explore
Yeah.
the dark trying to see if anything would work, and it didn't.
It
It
kinda
didn't
works.
work. Jason is still dead.
And
I'll
also you
get
could keep tying it to the camp and stuff if you say that there's some sort of, like, I don't know, occult history on that land.
The place where he died is
Yeah.
significant. Or
Right. And that could
something.
also explain why he comes back.
Sure. Why he stalks that
Who
land.
knows?
But it could also be, then it can remain, don't open the camp again, I'll kill you. Because my son is still dead. Little does she know,
Yeah.
when she's beheaded, that is like the last step in the ritual that does revive him.
Right.
And so therefore her death does bring him back in
Right.
a way or something. And boom. I don't know.
Like,
something.
done right, done well, I could get into all of
I'm
that.
not
Like,
saying
that sounds
that's-
fun.
I'm not saying that's good. I'm saying that's something.
It sounds kind of fun. I
It's
feel like if somebody made it well, I could be like, all right, that's crazy, and I'm into it.
Yeah, here's a weird reference point. Romeo plus Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes.
Yes. I'm always
She-
ready for this reference point.
She, in Romeo and Juliet, spoilers for Romeo and Juliet by Bill Shakespeare. Congratulations, Bill, on your fun story.
Yeah.
They kill themselves.
Right.
They each take poison. But weirdly, Juliet takes poison that makes her look like she's dead. Romeo does not know that she only looks dead. So he takes poison himself.
Yeah.
In Romeo plus Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes, they stage it so that he drinks poison as she wakes up
Right.
from the spell.
Brutal.
And it's too late.
Yeah.
He's alive as he realizes, oh no, she's fine and I just killed myself.
Right.
So that pushes her to take the poison. Pamela Voorhees has been trying to revive her dead son. It isn't working. The last time that she tries it's the final straw. It's the last thing that she can try, and it still didn't work. And so she goes out looking for blood,
Yeah.
not realizing that while she's out looking for blood, it's a gradual process. and
Yes,
he
he's
does
being
wake up.
reknit together.
You had succeeded, Pamela.
Yeah.
If only you'd waited.
A great tragedy.
One of the great tragedies of our time.
Yes.
And so Jason does show up on the shoreline to see his mother beheaded, and that sends him off on his own tangent.
Perhaps this is what all happened before the events of the Friday the 13th remake.
Well, but that's what I'm saying.
know.
Like, why not make an attempt at
something.
Really anything.
Rather than just like a very fast recap of the finale of the original movie.
Literally, we've got 2 minutes to spend on Pamela Voorhees and get her out of here.
Right.
But then we meet our second characters who are all about finding that pot.
Yeah.
And nudity.
Yes.
They're all about grass.
They're all about a good time.
Nudity and crudité.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, totally.
Vile weed.
Yes.
And doing the deed.
Wow. Wow, you're good at this.
In the sack or hungry for snack because you smoked and you got the munchies. Got the munchies or up in them bunchies? That's those undies. When your undies are all bunched up. Yeah. And any one of these are things that people can use. I mean, is Netflix and Chill retired?
They're out there.
But licensed by Guide to the Unknown.
Yes.
But he kills everybody there, and then now we smash cut to the title card.
Oh, okay.
And conceptually, it's a double fake out like Scream 4.
Right.
We're seeing something happen, and everyone dies, and then we smash to new characters. So these must be our main characters.
Yeah.
They all die. Nope. Title card.
Right.
Oh. And you could argue that the remake of Friday the 13th does an interesting lead up to being like, we're not telling the first movie. We're telling the third movie.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to presume this is like a later sequel.
Right.
Where the characters are kind of paper thin and you don't really care.
Right. It's just all about Jason.
That's what we're making.
Yeah.
And so it almost succeeds on that level.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, it goes through like some of the beats of the previous movies. Obviously, like we said, Pamela Voorhees. He even shows up with a bag on his head at first. He doesn't have the mask yet. He finds it while dispatching Chewie, beloved character of that movie.
You've got it all wrong. I'm offended.
Do I?
Yes, you do. Chewie is playing with hockey equipment, and he offers it to Jason, and he said, "Here, it completes your ensemble."
No, I'm talking about the remake.
I know.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
What are you talking about?
I watched it twice.
What? No, I watched him pick up the mask.
He didn't get it from Chewie.
But he killed Chewie.
He did kill Chewie.
I'm saying he killed Chewie and then he picked up the mask.
He did not. No, he had the mask on already.
Oh.
You're going to have to watch it a second time like me.
Oh, okay, excuse me. He kills somebody and then he just like sees the mask in the like garage or something.
He kills that guy.
And he just puts it on.
He kills that guy who licks magazines and talks to a dummy.
Oh, yeah.
He kills that character in a movie.
Okay.
That realistic human being that's in this film.
Right, who is recognizable to me as a human being walking and talking in this world. He kills him, I guess, and then gets the mask. What do you mean Chewie gives him the mask and says,
No, Chewie's holding a hockey stick. This movie sucks, everybody.
Yeah, it
this
does.
movie sucks.
Yeah,
I mean, if you saw it, you might know what we're talking about. If you didn't see it, you might be lost. Mm-hmm. Jason Voorhees has the bag on his head. He gets the mask from killing an idiot.
Right.
And now he's got hockey mask. He am become Jason.
Yes.
Chewie is a character played by Ronnie Yu. Is that his name? He's in a lot of these Platinum Dunes.
Oh, I didn't recognize him. I don't know.
Yeah, he was at the time. He was in a lot of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And he breaks something.
Yeah.
In a fancy house, and the uptight man who owns the fancy house says, "Go to the garage. Go."
Oh, it's a chair. He's like, "That's my dad's favorite chair."
Yeah, go to the garage to get tools to fix this chair, Chewie.
Yeah.
So Chewie goes to the garage and stays there for a very long time,
Yes.
walking around, talking to himself, looking at stuff. Picks up a hockey stick that he finds and starts playing hockey in there alone.
Yeah.
As Jason appears, and he goes, "Oh, dude, you scared me." He's like stoner. He keeps a bong in a case, like nuclear codes. He's got a case with with foam that he cut out a space for the bong.
Yeah.
It's got a name.
They're very delicate.
So he sees Jason and goes, "Whoa, dude, here, this is for you." He hands him the hockey stick and he goes, "Completes the look."
Right, okay.
And then Jason kills him. It's a hilarious joke.
Right. Okay, I gotcha. That is what happens.
Please get it right.
Hopefully going forward I will, but no promises.
Fine.
So, we're talking out of time here. I'd like to jump back now to the original.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the original upon this watch?
I'm I'm fine with the original. There are a lot of things that I like about it. There's also there's a blandness to it.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of blah. Mm-hmm. It also, anything you do or watch like takes on the context of everything else that you're doing around that time.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's partially because we just watched Chucky, which is like distinctly not, or Child's Play, which is distinctly not blah.
It has a character.
Yeah, very much so. Like I said, I've seen this movie a whole bunch of times. I think of myself as really liking it. But while I was watching the original, I was like, this is kind of like boring a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
very
texted
much so.
you and I was like, this is sort of dull.
The only thing worth comparing it to, I think, are lesser slashers and Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween came out in 1978 and is also very, 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 very slow, to the point that
Right.
I have heard people today seeing it for the first time say, nothing really happens. It's kind of blah. And yet,
I know that too.
I really click with it. I really like that movie.
I feel the same way. I can totally see a comparison between the two as far as saying that, like, not a lot is going on, but
That's
I
the
don't.
race. That's the comparative.
Yeah, I don't feel that way about Halloween.
Right.
And then I definitely did feel this way about Friday the 13th, where I was just kind of like, all right.
Yeah, the characters are a lot sillier.
Yeah,
The-
and
the-
you're spending less time with them on kind of like a get to know them sort of basis. So there's
Agreed.
sort of like a whole bunch of interchangeable, like rowdy teens. They're not like repugnant like the rowdy teens in
Right.
the reboot.
Yeah.
They're just like fine and like,
Repugnant.
there's like
They're not loathsome,
right exactly,
which is a pro.
yes,
Like that goes in the
It's
win column.
a check for the win column.
Not loathsome.
And they're just like fine. Kevin Bacon is there. It's his first movie. There's something going on with Kevin Bacon's wiener in this movie. Have you seen stuff about this?
Okay, I'm interested.
Okay, so, and I think that he's addressed it somewhere somehow, but there's
Is he addressed right? Is there some sort of a malfunction?
no, there seems, I believe he might have talked about it on Howard Stern. I couldn't find the quote, but I remember him talking about this, and I think I was just like straight up listening. I think he's wearing some sort of like contraption underneath his like bikini briefs that he's like, it's like his swimsuit, like he's wearing like a Speedo or whatever. It's some sort of contraption that is blunting the end of his wiener, and so it looks weird.
Okay.
And so I saw people on Reddit describing it as it looks like it's chopped in half. It looks like a pig snout.
Yes, I see. I see what's going on.
Things like this.
I have a Reddit thread here posted by I'm Here for the Short Haul titled Every time I see Friday the 13th, I'm more scared by Kevin Bacon's bacon than by the rest of the movie. And there are arrows pointing to his junk and it just says, what the hell? It does look, because he's wearing a Speedo.
Right.
It's quite tight. This blue Speedo, it looks like there's a baboon in there.
Yeah, exactly. It's not normal.
No,
is the
it's
thing.
not normal. There's
He's
something in there.
got something in there that's like making it look funny.
Something
And we can
shoved
also
in.
confirm that because he has gone whole hog in what's it called?
Kevin Bacon going whole hog about his bacon.
Yes.
This is all great. This is all great fodder for comedy.
in Wild Things, that movie.
He's in that.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And you see his bacon in that, and there's nothing wrong with it. So it's a distinctive thing in Friday the 13th. There's something wrong with the like literal equipment. I'm
you
not
think-
speaking euphemistically. Whatever they were using
Right.
for his like modesty went awry.
No, yeah, it's not terribly modest. It's
No.
perplexing.
Yeah, it's more confusing than anything.
Yeah.
And he's aware of it and has joked about it.
Do you think that he did that shot in Wild thing to prove that there's not a problem?
Maybe. I mean, it had to be 30 years later, but maybe this has been eating at him. And so
Just so you know.
this is what's going on. It's fine and it's normal.
I've got it under control now and it's okay. He says that in the movie. Looks at the camera. He says these things out loud.
It's fine.
I'm okay. I'm normal. The movie grinds to a halt.
It's grinding all right, that movie. But that's the movie, if you don't know, that is with Nev Campbell and Denise Richards, and they very famously have a threesome with Matt Dillon.
Oh,
That's like
okay.
the whole thing about that movie, basically.
I can picture the poster. It's
Yeah, I
them-
know.
It's them in a pool.
Yep,
I've
yep.
never seen it.
I have. I don't really remember anything about it except for like what you know about it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's like a mystery, like a noir kind of thing.
Is it?
Yeah, I think
Looks
it
like
is.
Celebration the film.
I think it's also Celebration the film, but I don't know.
That ain't right.
I think it was. I don't remember what I thought about it, but
Filth.
anyway.
Filth. I
But anyway, he is one of a group of teens where you're just
Yeah.
like, okay, it's just like a bunch of teens who I don't really know.
yeah, if Halloween is about Laurie Strode,
Yeah.
and it is,
Totally.
she's the main character, as much as there are others. Friday the 13th is a weird ensemble.
But like,
Each
not
of
even
them
like, do you know
gets
any
some
of their
time?
name?
No.
Names? You know, you don't.
There is a bizarre trend because I watched Friday the 13th, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, and the reboot for
Right.
this. There's a Ned, a Ted. They're all the annoying characters. Like the silly guy who
Yeah, I
dances
know.
around with a headdress on,
Yep.
screaming in the original movie. I think that's Ned.
I think you're right. That
And then there's Ted in the fourth one for sure.
Is he
and
also
he's
annoying?
Yeah. And it's all Eds.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an Ed. I don't know.
Huh, maybe.
But they're all irritating. And then in the third one, it's Shelley, which is weird. But Shelley
Oh, I remember Shelley.
is such a pain
Yes.
in the ass. He is a mope.
Yeah, I'm well
and he's
aware.
where Jason gets the hockey mask.
Mm-hmm.
He's pranking people to scare them, and he puts on a hockey mask to scare somebody, and then Jason takes it and becomes the icon.
I do not like a merry prankster.
And then in the remake, the 2009 remake, it's also an idiot that gives him the mask.
Yeah.
In no timeline does Jason get his hockey mask from somebody who's not the most annoying thing I've ever seen.
Well, wait. I know I'm bringing back to the scene, but doesn't Jason just pick up the mask? The annoying guy, he really gives it to him?
He doesn't give it
Why
to him,
have I
but
like blanked this out?
he wouldn't get it if not for going to kill the annoying
Oh,
guy.
right,
You know what
but
I mean?
so,
he's the
yeah.
vehicle by which Jason gets the mask. But
yeah.
it's not like he says, "Here you go,
Right. Okay.
my friend."
Yeah, but still, he doesn't give it to him.
And just really quickly,
Yeah.
I just want to explain this man.
Okay.
There's a man
Yeah, he's a horrible man.
in the remake.
He's disgusting.
Looks like he's like 23.
Yeah.
22.
Yeah.
And he acts like he is, I don't know, in his 70s and has lived off the land for his entire life. And yet his voice is high.
He's away from society in every possible way. He's broken from our conventions.
Yeah, oh, entirely. And he goes like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" when a character shows up. And he's like, "Oh man, somebody's been stealing Mr. McGillicuddy's propane." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? You're just saying that so that we can theorize something."
Right.
And then
I have at least one of the lines that he says.
Okay.
I think that somebody kind of like sneaks up on him and he says, "You got this close to hitting the start button on the whoop ass machine, boy."
Oh, I hate this kind of humor.
Terrible.
I hate this kind
and then
of humor.
it just kept happening. Like he said something else that I started to write down. Then I was like, I'm just gonna be writing down quotes from this disgusting man for this whole time. I'm
Yeah,
just
you're
gonna
gonna
let
write
it
down
go.
everything he says.
Right.
He is the absolute worst of the worst.
Yes.
And then at one point they cut to him and he's alone and he's reading a nudity magazine and he licks the magazine,
He's disgusting.
which is something no human does.
No.
And then he hears something upstairs, so he goes up there and there's a mannequin, a nude mannequin, and he goes, "Oh, it's just you. It's good to see you again. You remember when you took my virginity?"
That
I'm like,
mannequin?
physiologically, I'm not sure what that would be.
I mean, I'm putting a lot of thought into this, but I think
Which
perhaps
you know
he has...
the filmmakers put zero thought into it aside
Yes.
from "That's so funny, bro."
Right.
LOL, that's definitely going in the movie.
Is he projecting a real life woman who actually did take his virginity, quote unquote, onto this mannequin? Now he just calls this mannequin Sherry or whatever its name is. You know what I mean?
So what's up with him? Is he out of his mind?
Everything would indicate that, yes.
But it's so okay.
All signs point to yes.
It's horrible.
It's
horrible.
terrible. Do you have anything else to say about this guy? Well, I mean, the answer is yes. But
he sees Jason without the mask, and he goes, "Oh, that shit ain't right, dude." And I'm like, "Well, that's also not part of the guy that's like, you almost fired up the whoop ass machine."
yeah,
Wouldn't be like, "That ain't right." I don't know.
I don't know. He might
Maybe,
actually.
but it's just like lame dialogue. And I have a quote here from the producers where they're like, "The biggest thing that we wanted to do
Was make this guy awesome.
while Shannon and Swift began writing the script for Friday the 13th, they imposed some rules based on their experience of writing Freddy vs. Jason. They wanted their teenage characters to, quote, sound normal.
Oh God, really?
That's literally what they said they wanted to do, and
That's
failed.
that's such a funny way to phrase it because it's the exact opposite of what happened.
Now, it may not be their fault, right? Like, there could be a lot of studio interference. There could be
course.
improving. There could be like, no, we need these characters to be LOL hilarious.
Of course.
But it's horrible for that comment to be out there.
Right. They're anything but normal.
We wanted them to be normal.
Yeah.
I have horrible news for you. I saw it.
Well, Will, I think that before we return to this extremely abnormal world of Friday the 13th,
Yes.
we need a safe place.
Yes, we do. Where can we go?
We need a safe place to land. I absolutely do know the destination for safety, but also excitement is DebbieDrawsFunny.com.
DebbieDrawsFunny.com?
That's right. Now, we have been telling you about Debbie Draws Funny a lot lately. This is a stationery business that's available online and in 700 shops across the US and Canada. And you out there listening and watching are smarty pants. So you have been shopping and joining Debbie's Patreon, which rules.
Yes, as you should be. Because Debbie hand draws every single greeting card, sticker, tote bag, and it covers a variety of subject matters from your favorites of the 80s and 90s to horror classics and more. As a matter of fact, Debbie recently added true crime and paranormal and nostalgia and pop culture to the category options on her site because she just has that much that fans of this show would be into.
For sure. Debbie Draws Funny has been featured in Glamour magazine, Pop Sugar, New York Times, and Dateline even liked and commented on her Keith Morrison line of greeting cards, which is never going to stop being huge to me.
That's right. Yeah, let's talk about that Patreon. It's patreon.com/DebbieDrawsFunny. That's DEBBIE Draws Funny. There are tiers starting as low as $3 going up to $15, where you're going to receive a monthly exclusive art print and sticker in the mail. Let's check out October's exclusive sticker and print. I'm throwing it up on the screen for people who are watching.
And we'll describe it for everybody listening.
Yes.
So this is a super colorful, really like fun and cheerful looking, but also with a twist, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Drawing of a barn owl. And I actually, so, you know, obviously because we do these ads, Debbie and we are in communication by email, and Debbie described this. We've made contact with Debbie. Debbie described the October bonuses for the Patreon to us, and I thought it was so funny what she wrote. I asked if it was okay that we share it in the ad, and she said yes. So this is what Debbie had said to us. It's a little bit out there. Yes, that's a barn owl holding a dead mouse. But hear me out. It's based on a reference photo I used, and there's an honest-to-God dead mouse in the photo. I just had to leave it in. It's a little dark, it's a little weird, and isn't that what owls are anyway? Dark and weird and maybe aliens? Certainly yes.
Oh my God, yes. There is a long history, a heritage within owls and the paranormal.
Absolutely. But she took that like darkness and weirdness and maybe alienness and makes it like poppy and bright and colorful, but still with that core of like, ooh, spooky. And it's just super awesome.
It looks so cool.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love an owl? And also just like, there's the beauty of nature, but also the viciousness of the circle of life. That owl's got to get food somewhere. And in this case, it's that little mousey.
Yeah.
But also for us and for our little guideys out there, owls obviously have come up a lot on this show.
Oh yeah.
They're famously pointed to for the Mothman sightings.
Yep.
But also, I happen to know that barn owls make a sound. Look this up.
Yeah.
Google barn owl human scream.
It's horrifying.
I genuinely believe this to be a source of many like ghost sightings and horror stories out there. I've used this in storytelling. When we did Blair Witch for Hunt a Killer, I used the sound of a barn owl because they sound like a woman screaming out there in the night.
Right.
It is alarming in the extreme. Everything about owls are both beautiful and strange.
And Debbie wraps all that up in a print that's exclusive to patreon.com/DebbieDrawsFunny and a sticker.
Yes. So use promo code GTTUPOD for 20% off your order at DebbieDrawsFunny.com. And for exclusive bonuses, join the fun at patreon.com/DebbieDrawsFunny.
That's right. Thank you so much, Debbie. Everybody go check out her stuff.
Thank you, Debbie. Enjoy, everybody. And reminder Sunday, October 23rd, 1 p.m. Eastern, Guide to the Unknown is going live for a big, fun demon drive, as we're calling it. To keep Guide to the Unknown fresh and alive, and to share our love of the weird and strange with all of you. We're going to be doing a few hours together as Kristen and I share footage from a recent adventure that we went on, unveil some new bonuses that are going to end up in the Patreon, and invite all of you to come with us for all of it on patreon.com/GTTUpod. If you're currently on the demon tier, you're going to get all of this.
Yes.
But we encourage you to come anyway. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see a lot of stuff you've never seen before.
Oh, such wonders.
Oh, my God. And it's already in the can.
Yeah.
We've already got it.
Absolutely. Will and I, on October 1st, kicking off the month, went and did a paranormal investigation at a historical home in New Jersey that is to be undisclosed.
We're not allowed to say where we... This is true.
Yes.
We are not allowed to say where we went. We went on a ghost hunt there.
That's right, because what they said was that anytime, like, I don't know, it's been public or people get wind that this home is haunted, then they start to kind of get swarmed by people who are just showing up outside of the hours that you're supposed to go, and pursued by like ghost TV shows and stuff, and they just don't want it. They just happen to have an arrangement with a particular paranormal investigator group in New Jersey where they do these ghost hunts every once in a while, but besides that, they don't want it to have this sort of attention. So Will and I went on this ghost hunt and recorded audio of the entire thing.
We literally have hours and hours of audio
4
of
hours.
all of our experiences, and so we're going to be talking about what we saw and what we heard, and we're going to be doing it in this live stream. Among other things, a lot of games, a lot of shenanigans. You can all disrupt us and stuff and force us to shove marshmallows into our faces or put on makeup or whatever.
Yeah, what Will's referring to is that during the stream, if you decide to donate money, we're going to have options for things that you can choose for us to do because you donated.
Yes.
And so some of those might be stopping what we're doing and having a marshmallow face shoving contest.
Yeah.
Things like this.
It's gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be spooky and ghostly, and it all helps us keep Guide to the Unknown fresh and healthy, and lets us keep
and independent
and investing in hopefully doing more Guide to the Unknown stuff.
Yep.
So we hope that you join us October 23rd, 1 p.m. Eastern, youtube.com/GTTUpod. There's more than the paranormal stuff too.
Yeah.
It's hours of stuff Chris and I have already done.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to unleash it to all of you. But you'll
too.
have to find out then. All right.
Back to the show.
Talk about Friday the 13th more.
Le show.
Jason.
Yes.
As a guy.
As a guy.
Yeah. As a man.
Yeah.
What's he up to?
I don't know exactly.
What would you say his deal is?
Hard to say. I mean, he seems to be, and we can only talk about him in terms really of the remake in this case, because he's not really in the first movie, the original.
Right.
He seems to be a killing machine with a number of skills to draw from. He's a real marksman.
In this one, he is.
Yeah, in the remake. So they reference Kevin Bacon's death, which was done by arrow, like from bow and arrows. That you might be playing with in camp.
Yeah, but
whatever.
He uses it as like a stabbing device. Kevin
In the
Bacon is
first
killed
one,
in the original movie. He's lying in bed, and an arrow comes through the mattress underneath and out through his throat.
Right.
It's not like he got shot with a bow and arrow.
No, but I still think that they use a bow and arrow in the remake as a reference to that.
Okay,
No?
all right. I don't know. The remake is so odd because the depiction of Jason, to me, like if you don't know anything about Friday the 13th, I would still say he's like a lumbering, kind of slow dude with a machete.
Right.
Specifically. That's I think what
Definitely.
most people accept. When you go back and you watch the originals, and this is why I watched parts 2, 3, and 4, is to see that's largely the Jason that's being rebooted.
Yeah.
Right? Because later on in the series, he becomes like a zombie and
Yep.
goes to space and becomes Uber Jason.
Goes to
where he's covered
Manhattan.
in metal, sure.
Yeah.
He does run. He jogs in the original
Yeah, he'll move at a
movies.
decent clip.
Yeah. And at one point, he does shoot a harpoon gun into a person's face.
Yeah.
So he has done stuff like
Okay.
that before. But in the new movie, he's like setting bear traps
Yeah.
and running, sprinting, like booking it.
Yes, he's definitely hauling ass.
Which
But
I-
also, like, he shoots that guy with an arrow who's a moving target from, like,
Yeah.
very far
It's
away.
like a dude driving a boat.
Yeah, it's a guy from Veronica Mars and Party Down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ryan Hansen.
And Jason gets him good.
Oh, yeah, he gets him right in the mush.
Right in the dome.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jason's deal is hard to pin down.
Because that implies to me, like, all these abilities is like
Right.
he is like the he's more than man.
I know, he does seem to be
The ultimate
that-
outdoorsman.
You're absolutely right.
What Tim Allen and Al Borland wish they were.
Yes, he's aspirational,
Yes.
indeed.
Maybe it's what Wilson was. That's why he wouldn't show his face.
Maybe. That's true. I also don't understand what's going on with him capturing that girl who looks like his mom.
Yes, this
is a Jason that we haven't seen before. So he's like, usually he's just a killing machine, kind of like devoid of feeling. There's obviously some sort of motivation, but we don't know what it is. In this, he takes from the original batch of like the stoner kids or whatever, right? She's from that first group.
Yes.
Yeah,
She's well, the first thing is Pamela Voorhees.
Yeah.
Then flash forward, I think 20 years or something they say in this one. And it's a bunch of kids who have pot and
pot GPS.
Yeah, pot GPS.
So there's this girl who's part of that group of pot GPS kids who he kills all of them except for her.
Takes her
And chains her up in like his lair.
an underground labyrinth of
Yes.
tunnels underneath the camp.
Right. And so number one, what's up with that?
What is that?
Number two, I don't totally understand how she figures out that it's because she looks like his mom.
There's a locket,
Oh, the locket. Yeah, that's right.
which is the classic horror trope that
Shorthand.
you would think nobody would
Right.
accept
It's
as
just a shortcut.
permissible.
Yeah.
in a modern movie.
Yeah.
You know, is the like, I look just like her.
Right.
You know, like to the point that like it could almost be in Scary Movie of like,
Right.
my God, I found a photo in this locket. I look nothing like them.
Yeah.
Maybe this won't have anything to do with me.
That would happen to me because people are always telling me I look like people and then showing me the person I look like, and I'm like, huh.
Isn't that
It's
the
like
worst?
just somebody who has tattoos and glasses. But yeah, I know it's happened constantly. It
Yeah.
feels like.
Mhm.
So yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like, what's his motivation with her?
What does he
even,
want with her?
By the way,
does he want a new mother?
because he doesn't
keeps her
communicate.
chained up.
Right. He keeps her chained up. He doesn't communicate anything to her. The closest we get to like some sort of something understanding is that she at one point like speaks to him and is stern with him the way that a mother would be, and he's responsive to that.
So that in part 2, there's a character named Ginny. She's our new
Mm-hmm. Oh,
final girl.
right. Yep.
She is studying child psychology, and
Right.
she has interesting
No, this
scenes.
is sweet.
She has
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
scenes in that movie where she's like, what would seeing your mother be killed do to you? Due to a child who has no ability to understand the meaning of death.
Yeah.
He would see that she was killed for doing something admittedly misguided, murdering people, but she was doing it because she loved him.
Right.
How would he internalize all of that? Like, it's interesting.
No,
in
it
the
is
second
good.
movie, they try to get into the psychology of Jason.
I like the second movie.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not terrible. And at the end of the movie, she finds Mrs. Voorhees. Jason has made
Yeah.
a tableau,
Yes.
as our mother would say.
Absolutely.
Mrs. Rogers.
Yeah.
And in the centerpiece is Mrs. Voorhees's head.
Yeah.
And her clothes.
Yes, they're just like laid out like the rest of her like disintegrated to dust.
Yeah.
But her head is like sitting atop
It's
them.
weird.
Yeah.
But so
It's
Ginny,
awesome, honestly.
it's great. And the head I could swear is a human performer wearing like prosthetics. You always expect the eyes to open.
don't
It looks very
remember.
weird. But Ginny puts on Mrs. Voorhees' sweater
Right.
and then goes, Jason, you've done very well, but I want you to stop now.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, I'm talking to you. And it throws him
yeah.
because by all indication, he has a hard time with stuff.
Yeah.
So this movie sort of purports to do that. I look like Mrs. Voorhees, so I can tell Jason to stop.
Right.
But
we just never understand what his motivation for all this and what the deal is. Like, that gives us a little window into, like, he's got respect for Mama.
Yeah.
But besides that,
nothing.
What's going on?
Got nothing. He keeps Did you notice he keeps his mother's head still? He still has the head, but instead of having a cool little diorama,
right. Yep.
he keeps her head in a hole above his toilet.
Yes. I know. Not quite the place of respect in the home that you might expect it to be. Maybe, like, you know, there are some celebrities who have won awards who keep their awards in the bathroom because they say it humbles them or something, or like brings it down a little bit.
Sure, okay.
Perhaps that's what he's doing here.
Is she a trophy?
No.
No,
I think it's just a memento.
Yeah, a warning or something that motivates him.
Right.
This is why you have those days where you get up out of bed and you don't feel like killing.
Yeah.
And then you see Mom's head.
And you're like, that's right. This is what it's for. This is what it's all for. Mm-hmm.
And then you get out there and you grab your machete, you get to goddamn work.
Yeah.
But no,
or your bear trap.
Sure.
Or your bow and arrow. Or your crossbow or something.
Your running boots.
Yeah.
He keeps her above the toilet. The turlet.
I don't know.
I don't know what message that sends except, ooh, yucky.
Yeah. This part of the tunnels is yucky.
They go with conventional spooky grossness where it's like he's got a baby doll and it's missing an eye in there. And it's like, all right. There are spooky townspeople who are like, leave him alone.
Yeah, that's never
They
expounded upon. Like, it's like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre sort of thing.
The genesis for this movie was our Texas Chainsaw reboot was successful. Let's do it again with Jason.
Yeah.
But they sort of just like used the same research or the same creative impetus. The townsfolk in Texas Chainsaw, no matter where you go, they're on Leatherface's side.
Yeah.
Here, it's almost like everybody's willing to turn a blind eye to Jason to stay out of trouble, which is very similar to being on it with him because they're not saving these kids from being killed.
Yeah, they kind of like will say like you should stay out of there or something, but that's pretty much it. They're not going to like turn him in or try to stop him.
So it all just plays as conventional creepy old lady in a house being like, well, just don't piss him off. Or bye-bye. And it's like, well, she's nothing. Like, this is the same character. I saw this character in Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah.
I've seen these characters
in like
everywhere.
everything.
Where's Crazy Ralph?
Yeah.
What do you think about Crazy Ralph from the original? You'll never come back again. It's got a death curse.
I like Crazy Ralph.
And then he gets on a bicycle.
And
rides away.
This guy's something else.
He's
I gotta say,
dynamite.
I think I forget about Crazy Ralph every time, and he catches me off guard.
He's got that it factor.
That guy pops off the screen.
Now that's what I'm looking for. He's the omen. He's the harbinger. He warns the kids.
We're saying we don't know any of the kids' names. They're all interchangeable. Guess whose name we know? Crazy Ralph.
Crazy Ralph.
Yeah.
You're doomed. You're all doomed. You're doomed.
You're doomed.
The amount of times that he says, you're doomed. You're all doomed.
Just keeps going.
Constant. And then
everybody's talking about him. You know what I mean? The cop's talking about him who stops by.
He's fantastic.
This guy is a local celebrity.
He's got it going
fantastic.
Dispatched in part 2.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
It's a mistake.
Bring him back.
Absolutely. However you need to do it,
Ralph.
I'm open to it.
By the way,
especially if something somehow down the line takes our idea, well, not our idea, really, the internet's idea of like occult stuff coming in, that sort of motivation. Let's get Crazy Ralph rising from the grave.
Maybe Crazy Ralph is Jason's dad. Maybe that's Elias.
Oh my God.
And so he's got this like doomsday thing in his head about death curses and cults and
Ralph Elias Voorhees.
Yes, exactly. Please put down my true
name.
name, Elias. And he looks in the camera. This is for the post-credit scene.
Like the end of, what's it called? What's the third Batman movie? Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt the entire time is called like...
Michael or something.
Definitely called Michael. He goes, no, use my real name. It's Robin. Right. Please, put down my full name. Robin the Boy Wonder.
Yeah.
You're like, what? Whoa! Do you know what that means? Whoa!
No, we got it.
In a movie we'll never see. He's Robin.
I know.
Like here, do a post-credit scene where he goes,
we're Ralph.
They fell for it. And then he like takes off his crazy hat. And,
what is he?
And he opens like his jacket and it says Elias. And then 1% of the audience goes, whoa! Yeah. And he just goes,
he's Elias.
My time to shine. what?
I'm there for that
What
movie.
is this? But no, like
he's great.
there
He's
is an
dynamite.
opportunity with Crazy Ralph because he's
Of course.
like, it's got a death curse.
He knows something's going on. Why does he know that?
Why does he know that? Why does he
Yeah.
think that? Could that be? You could extract, and I'm not saying
I
I
know.
like this or that it's good, but if you were telling a new version of the story and you want to do it again, but tighten it up,
I don't know if that's tightening it up.
maybe
I think it's probably
Pamela-
having a bit of fun. That's not tighter.
but
To bring in Crazy Ralph knowing the origins
well,
of...
but if Jason can't be killed, what is going on? You got to
I don't
explain
know.
how Chucky got in the doll. You know what I mean? You got to explain what Freddy's doing. And so many
Right.
times it's just, what? It's unsatisfying. It's awful.
Right.
Probably maybe never do it.
What do you propose Ralph has done to explain that?
No, I think he just is like crazy, but also not entirely wrong.
Yeah.
There is something, he did witness something one night, and he maybe took it out of context, but there is something crazy going on at Crystal Lake if Jason
not
can
wrong,
be
yeah.
drowned and come back.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
And a guy going around going, you're doomed,
You're dope.
might know
And he's
something
fun.
about it. And
Yeah.
it's fun to see him.
Yeah.
It's fun to stop by and chat
I
with
like the
Ralph.
look of him.
I love him.
You know, like he pops out of nowhere.
You'll never come back again.
Yeah,
He's got
it's
a
great.
big weird smile. It's got a death curse. He's fantastic.
I know, absolutely. I could use more of him. I'm trying to think of other like odds and
A
ends.
sleazy executive with a cigar going, back it up. Now this guy, give me more of this. Bring him in. I want to
Star
talk to
quality.
This. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm seeing something I like.
Yeah,
Crazy Ralph.
absolutely. I'm trying to think of other odds and ends from the first movie. We've talked a whole lot about the remake. Is there anything that like stands out to you from the first movie as like, I don't know, particularly cool or particularly like anything? One of the things for me is because I think that I have like a little bit of like a claustrophobia sort of thing is when the girl who's supposed to be the cook at the camp gets into the car with Pamela Voorhees. We don't know that yet.
Right.
But gets into the car with Pamela, who's going to give her like a lift to the camp, and she starts realizing that something is like very wrong.
Yeah.
And tries to get out and like run away and is unsuccessful. That scene sticks with me. That's like, it's kind of like minor in the scheme of the movie, but it's one of the things I think about when
Well,
I
for a
think about this
franchise
movie.
that gets crazy,
Yeah.
where Jason's going to space, the first one is so down to earth. And the killer, it is like a pretty effective. I know that, I think is it like the original like Dario Argento Italian Giallo slashers, the Italian slashers, where it's like the killer's always just like wearing black gloves and you don't see who they are. And it's really just a pair of hands.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Friday the 13th actually does that sort of thing really well.
Definitely.
It's not a whodunit. You're never going like, could one
Which
of our...
one of these people?
You're never doing that.
Right.
But you are going like, there's somebody crazy there, and I don't know who it could possibly be.
Yeah.
And you're constantly, your most people's bias would be, this must be some big guy.
Right.
But then
right.
when it turns out to be like a later middle-aged woman who used to be the cook at the camp.
in like a cable knit sweater.
In a cable knit
Move
sweater.
over, Chris Evans and Knives Out. Now this is a sweater.
Now that's a sweater.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And
Yeah,
I
it's
think she
awesome.
really is great.
Yes.
And I love the it's like an inversion of Psycho, you know, where
the music is even very Psycho.
oh, it's like a lift
Yeah.
from Psycho.
Yeah.
It's all like ring, ring,
Yeah.
ring. But Mrs. Voorhees, you know, is keeping her son alive, at least in her mind, and speaking to herself as her son.
That's also so freaky and
Yeah.
so awesome.
When they hold on, what's her name? Betsy
Palmer.
Palmer. They like hold close on her, and she's just
Yeah.
looking off in the distance, and she's
Kill
like,
them, mommy.
"Don't let her get away, mommy." And then she just, without even, her eyes don't change,
Yeah.
her posture doesn't change. She goes, "Don't worry, Jason, I won't." And it's just like, whoa, what's the war going on inside of you?
Yeah.
It's really entertaining. And,
Definitely.
and
It starts-
scary.
It definitely starts going like it's a little bit blah, a little dull, but I'm like I'm still into it. I still really like this movie, but definitely on this watch I was like, this is like a little like lacking.
It's simple. There's
Yeah.
there's not another layer to it. There's not another, and I think we expect that. Like, it's not trying to say anything.
I'm fine with all that. There's just a little bit of a blahness to it.
Yeah.
That is hard to put my finger on. I think it's just like a little just dull. It's not even boring necessarily.
yeah.
It's like a little dull somehow. And then in the last like 20 minutes, it goes ham.
Yeah.
And then another crazy thing about it is that usually in these movies, like people are aware that there are murders going on. Like the other people in the vicinity, in the town, whatever, like know there's a killer on the loose. They don't know that there's a killer on the loose in like practically until she appears.
Yeah.
Everybody just thinks that everybody is off doing their own separate things in the camp. They're not really worried about each other.
Yeah.
They start to get worried about each other, and then even at that point they're like, but they're probably fine. We're gonna go
probably fine.
look for them, but like they could be doing it somewhere. It could be whatever. It's only when they finally see a body and the movie is like almost over that they're like, there's a bad guy here.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's just people hanging out.
You're right.
And I think that's nuts and cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. It all takes place on Friday the 13th. So
Yeah.
they don't have an abundance of time. They don't cut to the next day where they're like, he still hasn't shown up again.
Mm-hmm.
If you left and I just didn't talk to you for the rest of the night, I'd be like, she's probably watching TV or fell asleep, or I'll talk to her tomorrow.
Yeah.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You're right. I like that. Something that's interesting about the later the immediate sequels, part 2, part 3, and 4, the final chapter, is that they take place on Friday the 13th, 5 years after Mrs. Voorhees kills people, and now it's Jason with a bag on his head. Then it's Saturday the 14th in part 3, and he gets the hockey mask.
Yeah.
Then it's Sunday the 15th. They're one day right after the next.
Yeah.
Up until Jason has one killing spree.
Yeah, he's
and
going
then
to town for the weekend.
And then he's killed.
Right.
On Sunday.
Right.
And like that's kind of interesting. They're each a single day.
I think so.
And so he just like racks up an enormous body count 1, 2, 3 days in a row on the Friday the 13th weekend.
Yeah.
And is put down. He's killed.
Right.
And like I don't know, there's something that's kind of interesting about that to me.
I think it's really cool. I like that.
In part 3, there was a news report where they're like, we just found out that people were killed yesterday.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, whoa, I've been living in this.
Yes.
How do you not know?
And the movies are released like a year apart or something,
Yeah.
so it feels like it takes place over a long period of time. It's a weekend.
Right.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's kind of novel in that way. Like Michael Myers takes a year off.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Although sometimes he does it all in one night. Like
he's got to
Halloween.
rest and recoup.
He's like Santa, where they're like, how does Santa do it all in one night?
Or
Michael
like,
Myers, sometimes it's just like later that night.
If it's Halloween, it's got to be Saw.
Yeah, that's true. Every year.
Every year, Jigsaw pops out of his hole in the ground, looks around, sees if he sees a shadow or not. He always does, and then so he goes killing.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
I like the first one. I can acknowledge that it is slow and simple, but I appreciate its importance in slasher history, and I think that does a lot for me.
Absolutely.
The remake is such an odd case and a fun one to look at for these purposes of like mishandling of the opportunity a remake can afford. With Child's Play, they went back to square one, like went further beyond the story premise. They went to like the sketch on paper.
And then like completely reinvented it from there.
This, I think, misunderstood the goal that you could have with a remake. It plays like a lesser sequel. It plays like a forgettable sequel rather than a new launching point. And for that reason, I think it never got a follow-up. It just wasn't successful. It doesn't have an identity. It doesn't make you want more.
No, it's not the worst. I've definitely seen worse movies, but it's like not good.
It's blah.
Yeah.
It's blah, and the teenagers are annoying as hell.
Yeah, it's blah / annoying.
Yeah.
It's definitely true.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see. We've got another flavor of reboot.
Yeah,
remake
coming up next.
The hyper direct.
Yes.
Reboot remake.
I'm curious to watch these back to back ish or like in such close proximity.
I found out that is it Steven Soderbergh? It might be. He made a movie. It's not really a movie. It's called Psychos.
Okay.
He intercuts the original 1960 Alfred Hitchcock Psycho with the 1998
I think so.
Gus Van Sant Psycho.
Oh.
The title card says starring Anthony Perkins, starring Vince Vaughn, starring Janet Leigh, starring...
I mean, that's fun.
It's interesting. And it's all in black and white.
Okay.
And one scene might be Janet Leigh getting ready and packing her bag.
Yeah.
And then when the camera cuts, It is what's her name?
Anne Heche.
Anne Heche.
Yeah.
And just continuing the scene for her. So it
seems like a fun
treats
thing.
them like one movie. It's kind of a fun experiment. It's like an editing experiment.
Yeah.
I poked around in that
That's
for
neat.
a little while. It's kind of fun.
That was probably like cool to do.
Yeah, I almost want to put like two TVs side by side.
Yeah.
And watch both movies simultaneously.
I'm sure that there are like YouTubes that are like split screen like that or
True.
something.
And
I don't know that.
I don't
but...
think for all the pomp and circumstance of it's shot for shot, it's not.
Right. It's just like
some things are faster.
A lot of shots are.
He inserted new material, which is weird.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see it because I know.
I think I like it. I haven't seen it in like a long time.
Yeah.
But I think I like the Psycho remake. I know it gets like dumped on a lot, and for all I know, I'm going to be dumping on it next week.
Yeah.
But my vague feeling is that I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, I'm interested. I don't think I can treat it like a movie. I like look at it like a curiosity piece.
Kind of.
It'd be hard to watch it as its own entertainment.
I don't know. I think it could be both. I'm not sure. So I guess we'll see.
We'll talk about that next week. I'm excited about that one, though.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. It feels like it'll be like a nice like refresher.
Yeah.
After this.
For sure.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Anything would be refreshing after the Friday the 13th reboot. This and Nightmare on Elm Street. They came out like back to back, basically. Both Platinum Dunes remakes of 80s slasher, A-list killers. And it was dark times. Dark times.
I've never seen that.
This plus the Rob Zombie remake of Halloween, and it's like
I know. I'm glad that we have a buffer week between
everything
this
was
and
in
Halloween.
The gutter in the aughts.
Yes, everything's like dark and like slimy.
It was rough.
Slimy and grimy.
Hard times. All right,
well,
everybody.
we will be back next week to talk about Psycho the original and Psycho the remake. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Like we said, go check out DebbieDrawsFunny.com for awesome gifts.
Yep.
You can also go to patreon.com/GTTUpod to check out all of our bonuses. We have an entirely other podcast called the Netherworld Dispatch that comes out every Monday that you can get when you go over there. And we also really encourage you to come back and hang out with us on October 23rd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/GTTUpod for our Demon Drive fundraiser.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna be showing people a lot of stuff that many people have never seen before.
Yeah.
Especially the new stuff that nobody has seen.
No.
That'll be a good time.
Yes.
But for people on the Patreon, consider signing up today, and you'll get all those bonuses anyway.
Yeah.
But you'll get access to dozens and dozens of exclusive shows right away.
70 something just regular episodes of the Netherworld Dispatch, plus like one-offs that we've offered here and there besides that, just for fun. And there's also a Discord, which is like an awesome community of people who are talking every single day about all kinds of stuff, and it rules.
It's great. This past Monday we looked at a slasher parody called Stan Helsing.
Yeah.
And we've referred to it as the worst episode we've ever made.
And one of our listeners, Ashley, said that she thinks it's her favorite episode that we've done. So I'm glad that it has brought joy.
People like it when we're in pain.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Which is why I think they're going to love it when we talk about Hellraiser on Monday.
That's true.
We talk about the new Hellraiser movie in Monday's Netherworld Dispatch.
Yep.
So come back for that as well. Everything patreon.com/GTTUpod. GTTUpod.com is the home of Guide to the Unknown with links to everything, P.O. Box, merch, previous episodes.
Yeah.
And follow at GTTUpod on all social media to keep up to date with us. You can also follow us.
Yep. I am at Chillin' Kristen.
I am at The Myth Traveler. So we will see you next week at the Bates Motel. But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the Netherworld go we.
There's a vacancy.
Oh.
Cabin 1.
Is it in your brain?
Hey. Come on now.
So stupid.